Episode 26, Jonbenet Case, Top 10 Clues. As you watch the clues count down from 10 to number 1 clue, see if you agree. Number 10, the 911 call. The call immortalizes Patsy's reaction at the time. It also helps to establish a timeline that the crime must have happened sometime between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. Number 9, the high-tech shoe print. The problem with the shoe print is how long was it there? And could it have been made by an innocent party? It's clear, you can see it, but what does it really tell us? Number 8, Jonbenet's bed and bedroom. Well, you can see from the photograph that there's clothes kind of thrown about. There's a sweater, there's a possible top or something on the headrest, and then the pillow is set on top of the folded back bed sheets. And then there's the question if the bed was wet. If the bed was wet, then this kind of eliminates an intruder also. It just happens to be wet when the intruder arrives. Number 7, the police officer's initial observations around 6 a.m. The police noticed that Patsy was fully dressed with makeup on. Why wasn't she in her pajamas like on Christmas morning? Also, they noticed that the home was secure and they read the ransom note. Some see Patsy being dressed, making her guilty, but I see it's possible that she was just dressed because she was ready to go. And maybe she didn't find the note at 5:45, maybe she found it at 5:50. And then they, within 2 minutes, called the police. So there could be an innocent explanation why she was dressed and her hair done and makeup. Number 6, all of the minor clues in the basement, like the open window, the scuff mark on the wall, the suitcase. Were those things that were staged by John or Patsy, or were they real? Number 5, Jonbenet's clothes and the blanket. Well, we can see that Jonbenet had wet herself. Some say this might have happened when she died, but that's not 100%. This clue is very significant because it explains that she was up. It most likely wasn't an intruder, and it had to be one of her parents. And the white blanket wrapped around her body indicates that it was a family member or someone who loved her, because that's what a lot of parents do who murder their children. Former Ramsey housekeeper Linda Hoffman spoke publicly about her grand jury testimony years after it took place, and she thought Patsy Ramsey had killed Jonbenet. According to Linda, The blanket wrapped around Jonbenet's body had been left in the dryer. There was still a Barbie doll nightgown clinging to the blanket, so it had to have come out of the dryer recently, she said. Only Patsy would have known it was in the dryer, she said. Number 4. The Groat made from the paintbrush handle. To me, this clue is the biggest clue regarding that I think John Ramsey committed the crime. I just don't see Patsy breaking a paintbrush handle and also tying this knot and strangling Jonbenet to death. I just don't see that. Number 3. The bowl of pineapple and the glass. The bowl had Patsy's fingerprints on it. The glass had Burke's fingerprints on it. The spoon is a serving spoon. That's pineapple with either cream or milk inside the bowl. And the tea bag in the glass is unusual for tea drinkers. So as I said in a previous episode, I believe Burke got this out. And I think that was because he wasn't being watched. Either John Ramsey was up that night and Burke was in the kitchen, or when they were in bed, Burke got up and got these things out. And then also on the autopsy, you have pineapple in Jonbenet's lower intestine. Small intestine, that's what I meant. Number 2, the 3-page ransom note. Well, it goes without saying, if you can figure out who wrote this ransom note, you pretty much know who was involved in the murder of Jonbenet. I've looked at it over and over, comparing handwriting with other samples of handwriting, and I believe John wrote this. And I think the biggest clue factor is this line about a stray dog. And then in John Ramsey's police testimony, he uses the same term, stray dogs. To me, that's just unbelievable. The odds that he didn't write this have to be 1 in 1,000. And number 1, Jonbenet's body and autopsy. It shows that she was alive when she was strangled. Shows that she had a large skull fracture. There were abrasions on her upper back and lower back. There were fibers attached to the duct tape placed on her mouth. There was pineapple in the upper portion of her small intestine, and there was evidence of sexual assault. Well, this concludes this episode of Unsolved. And regarding the DNA, I didn't count that as a separate clue. It would be tied to the different clues in this video. For example, the long johns, the underwear, and on her body. Those would be tested for DNA.